Hello Year 12s and welcome to this video on employees, business objectives and motivation. The purpose of this video is to draw on all of the work that we've done so far to explain how the effective management of employees can motivate those employees to achieve the business objectives of the business. You will need to ensure that you can explain this chain of reasoning in your own words, so you need to listen carefully. You'll be practicing explaining this chain of reasoning in class using the diagram on slide 4. The learning intention for this video is that you should be able to explain the relationship between managing employees and business objectives. Please write this learning intention down in your Cornell notes. One of the most important roles of a manager is to manage the employees of the business. The reason managers need to manage employees is because a business relies on its employees to achieve the business objectives of the business. Remember that I've said that business management is all about boxes and links. Well, in this video, we take the different boxes that we've looked at so far, that is, business objectives, stakeholders, management styles, management skills, corporate culture, and areas of management responsibility, specifically human resources, and we explain how these all link together in a way that describes how the effective management of employees is necessary for a business to achieve its business objectives. One very important part of this is the need for managers to motivate the employees of the business towards achieving the business objectives of the business. In later videos, we will explore the theories of motivation, motivation strategies, and the advantages and disadvantages of different motivation strategies. However, as I've said at the outset, the purpose of this video is to set the scene for this work by using what we've learned so far to explain how the effective management of employees can motivate those employees to achieve the business objectives of the business. I reiterate, you'll need to ensure that you can explain this chain of reasoning in your own words, so you need to listen carefully. On this slide, I'm going to take you step by step through the chain of reasoning that explains how the effective management of employees can motivate those employees to achieve the business objectives of the business. I want you to pay particular attention to how this explanation links together the different boxes that we've looked at so far. That is, business objectives, stakeholders, management styles, management skills, corporate culture, and areas of management responsibility. Well, let's get started then. Employees are critical to the success of a business because the business relies on them to achieve its business objectives. As stakeholders in the business, employees have an interest in a job that pays them fair remuneration, that is secure, and that provides them with career opportunities and job satisfaction. Employees also want to work in a non-discriminatory and ethical workplace. Now, because employees are the most expensive and valuable asset of the business, it's important that the business takes these interests into account. One of the biggest challenges that managers face is to manage their employees effectively. The appropriate management style will depend in part on the characteristics of the employees, including their skills and experience. For example, an autocratic management style is best suited for new or unskilled employees who need to be given clear directions. On the other hand, a participative management style is best suited to employees who are experienced, highly skilled, motivated, and able to work as a team. A manager also requires a range of management skills to manage their employees. These skills include communication skills, delegation skills, leading skills, and interpersonal skills. The Human Resources Department, or area of management responsibility, is responsible for maintaining a harmonious relationship between the business and its employees. In addition, it must ensure that the employment requirements of the business are met. In this regard, the Human Resources Department is responsible for selecting and recruiting employees with the experience and skills necessary to enable the business to achieve its business objectives. As part of managing the relationship between the business and its employees, the Human Resources Department, or Human Resources Area of Management Responsibility, sets the employees' terms and conditions of employment, arranges for the induction of new employees and the training of existing employees, and manages and evaluates the performance of employees. This may involve the Human Resources Department taking action where an employee is underperforming, for example, by terminating the employment relationship between the employee and the business. Now, it's important to recognise that the Human Resources Area of Management Responsibility works for the business, not the employees. It is not there to argue the case for employees, for example, receiving higher wages. Instead, it's there to help the business achieve its objectives. One way of achieving these objectives may be to give employees better wages so as to motivate them to work harder. But the reason the Human Resources Area of Management Responsibility does this is not because it thinks that employees should be better paid, but because it thinks that this is a way to help the business achieve its business objectives. In recruiting employees, the Human Resources Department needs to ensure that those employees have or are willing to adopt values that are consistent with the corporate culture of the business. A critical part of managing employees is to set goals for each employee that are aligned with the objectives of their team, their business unit, and the overall business. This is called Management by Objectives, or MBO. It is important that individual goals are set in accordance with the SMART principle. This means that an employee's individual goals need to be specific so that the employee clearly understands what they have to achieve, achievable and realistic so that the employee is able to meet those goals, measurable so that it can be determined whether the employee has in fact met those goals, and time-bound so that the employee knows when they have to meet those goals by. Aligning each employee's individual goals with the objectives of their team, their business unit, and the overall business will result in the efforts of all employees being focused on achieving the business objectives. Employees who have a clear understanding of their individual goals and how they relate to the business will be more engaged because they will feel that they're making a direct contribution to the success of the business. In addition, employees will be more satisfied in their jobs if they are given meaningful work. They have some control over how they perform their work. That is, they are given some independence and responsibility. If they're able to use their skills in that work, and if that work gives them the opportunity to develop new skills. Engaged employees who are satisfied with their jobs will be more willing to give feedback to management about how to improve the business. And if their feedback is taken into account, then the employees will feel that their input is valued and they will be motivated to work hard to achieve the objectives of the business. Engaged and motivated employees will work more productively, that is, they will put more effort into their jobs. They will also work to improve the performance of the business. For example, they will take more pride in their work and take personal responsibility for ensuring that the business provides high-quality goods and services to customers. And increasing the productivity and the performance of the business should result in increased profitability for the business, which of course is one of the major business objectives of all businesses. On the other hand, if employees are not managed effectively, so that they become disengaged and unmotivated, then it's likely that absenteeism will increase and that there will be high staff turnover. This will be costly for the business because it will lose experienced employees and will then have to spend money recruiting and training new employees. Well, there, in a nutshell, you have the chain of reasoning that explains how the effective management of employees can motivate those employees to achieve the business objectives of the business. As I've said before, you need to be able to explain this in your own words, and we'll be practicing doing this in class using this slide. On this slide and the next two slides, I've set out in writing the key links in the chain of reasoning that explains how the effective management of employees can motivate those employees to achieve the business objectives of the business. This is simply a summary of the description I have given you in relation to the previous slide, but I'll go through this again because it's really important. First, employees are critical to the success of a business, and that's because a business relies on its employees to achieve its objectives. Second, employees are stakeholders in the business, and so the business must take their interests into account. Third, one of the biggest challenges that managers face is to manage their employees effectively. The appropriate management style that managers adopt will depend on the characteristics of their employees. Managers also require a range of management skills to manage their employees. Fourth, an important role of the Human Resources Department, that is the Human Resources area of management responsibility, is to ensure that the employment requirements of the business are met. The Human Resources Department must recruit employees with the experience and skills necessary to enable the business to achieve its business objectives, and it must ensure that those employees fit in with the corporate culture of the business. Fifth, a critical part of managing employees is to set goals for each employee that are aligned with the objectives of their team, their business unit, and the overall business. This is called Management by Objectives, or MBO, and these individual goals must be set in accordance with the SMART principle. Most importantly, alignment between these goals and the business objectives will result in the efforts of all employees being focused on achieving the business objectives, that is, the objectives of the overall business. Sixth, employees who have a clear understanding of their individual goals and how they relate to the business will be more engaged because they will feel that they're making a direct contribution to the business. Seventh, employees will be more satisfied in their work if they're given meaningful work, some control over how they perform that work, the opportunity to use their skills, and the opportunity to develop new skills. Eighth, engaged employees who are satisfied with their jobs will be more willing to give feedback. And if their feedback is taken into account, those employees will feel valued and motivated to work harder to achieve the business objectives. Ninth, engaged and motivated employees are more productive and will work to improve the performance of the business. Increasing the productivity and performance of the business should increase the profitability of the business. And increasing the profitability of a business is a key business objective of most businesses. So there you have the very important link between the effective management of employees, the motivation of those employees, and the achievement of the business objectives of a business. Finally, 10th, if employees are not managed effectively so that they become disengaged and demotivated, then absenteeism and staff turnover will increase, and this will cost the business money. Well, that brings us to the end of this video. You should now be able to explain the relationship between managing employees and business objectives. Thank you for your attention.